Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda Society, a journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang with us. We are currently exploring the Upanishad Mystery of the Soul, Katha Upanishad. Commentaries by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So today we will be starting with mantra number 2 of chapter 1. The good and the pleasant present themselves before man, but a wise man, having examined them both, understands the good as distinct from the pleasant. He considers the path of good greater than the path of pleasure, because the former leads to supreme blessedness. But men with dull intellects follow the path of pleasure and pursue worldly achievements. This has also been clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita, where God gives us this guidance that the masses run after the pleasure, but the introspective and the wise people go after what is good, what is good for the soul. An aspirant reflects thus over these two paths. They are called Shreya and Preya path, the good and the pleasant. Shreya is the good, Preya the pleasant. All beings strive for the attainment of unalloyed bliss and the cessation of pain. Nobody likes pain, but again, it's all about the depth of understanding and how to get rid of it. But the more they endeavor madly to attain maximum happiness, the more they become entangled in the meshes of the world process. They find happiness moving away from them. Why? Because they are performing actions with desire. People adapt different means for earning wealth. Having earned wealth, they engage themselves in the satisfaction of desires. They perform ishta karmas, such as the performance of sacrifices or yajnas, etc., for the attainment of desires and the objects of personal needs. They perform purta karmas, such as charity, building dharmashalas or places of refuge, digging wells, etc., for the society. These actions bring fame in this world and heavenly enjoyments after death, no doubt. Having attained heavenly worlds, they enjoy celestial objects, but when the good karmas are exhausted, they come back again to the mortal world. Thus, like the pitchers used to draw water up from a well, they rise again and again to heavenly worlds, and having poured down the water of karmas, they sink again and again into the well of the mortal world. Those following the path of prayer have mistaken the objects to be the source of joy. This is the cause of all forms of afflictions. These very objects are the seed for the origination of the miseries in life. How are they the cause of miseries? You may ask. A man filled with desire acquires wealth with much difficulty. He has to suffer intense pain. When the objects are acquired, he has to suffer still with the apprehension of losing those objects. So, security, for there is no security for the objects. They may move on to some other deserving person, or undesirable objects may come in the way. The fear of losing the object of desire and of encountering annoying objects always torments the heart of man. His heart is ever on fire. Further, he has to suffer from the fear of losing his body and his relatives, mother, father, wife, son, guru, and so on. The fear of losing one's relatives causes intense agony. There is fear for the future destiny of the soul. One does not know what type of body he will get after death. He has to suffer from three major miseries: Adhyatmic, which is subjective, pertaining to the body and mind; Adi Bhautik, objective, pertaining to the objects of the world, such as thieves, tigers, etc., and Adhidaivik divine pertaining to divine agencies such as flood, earthquakes, thunderstorms, etc. There is no object which could be the means to happiness. The pleasant objects seem to give happiness in the beginning, but in the end they give rise to painful circumstances. A man lacking discrimination runs after the pleasures of the world, considering them to be the highest gain of life. But a man of discrimination, having understood the miseries on the path of pleasure, follows the path of good with a resolute will. So it takes strength and determination. Mantra number 3. O Nachiketas, thou hast renounced all the enjoyments of the world, having studied them well, and thou hast not fallen into the trap of earthly prosperities in which many men fall. Yama continues, O Nachiketas, you have proved yourself to be a sincere follower on the path of Shreya, or what is good. I have presented to you all types of enjoyments, but judging them to be the source of woe, you did not accept them. You have thus shown your love for the path of Shreya. You are my best disciple. Just as thieves and robbers are bound by the police in chains, due to which they cannot move, so men of desires are fettered by the ties of wives, sons, and other relatives and objects of the world. Fettered by the strong chains of attachment, one is not able to perform good actions. O Nachiketas, you have broken these fetters by the force of vichara or inquiry and have come out of the great mire of samsara, the world process. Thou shalt surely attain liberation. What a beautiful blessing from the god of death to Nachiketa. Even those who are well versed in the scriptures are not able to disentangle themselves from their worldly ties. Such is the power of illusion. They cannot save themselves from the surging ocean of the world process. Then, what to speak of those who have no understanding of spiritual knowledge? O Nachiketas, you have destroyed this chain of attachment by the power of discrimination. You are the best among the wise. So, in this mantra, Yama is glorifying Nachiketa of the choice that he has made, the path of Shreya, the path of good, and not the path of pleasant, even though he was tempted to an extensive degree. Mantra number 4. These two, ignorance and knowledge, are far apart and contrary to each other. They give different fruits. I consider you, Nachiketas, to be a lover of knowledge because you have not been tempted by various enjoyments. O Nachiketas, you know that there are two paths. One is the path of karma, selfish actions and rituals performed for selfish desires by doing sacrifices such as yagyas, etc., which is based upon ignorance. And the other is the path of Atma Jnana, knowledge of the self. These two paths are mutually exclusive. They are wide apart and divergent. The path of karma is the sustainer of the world process. It leads to the attainment of illusory joys. But the path of jnana or wisdom is the cause of the cessation of the world process. It leads to shreya, liberation, and the attainment of infinite bliss. O Nachiketas, I promised you all the objects of enjoyment, but your mind was unwavering in its determination. Therefore, I am certain that you are qualified for the path of jnana or wisdom. Mantra number 5. The ignorant, sunk in the darkness of ignorance, consider themselves wise and intelligent. They are actually dull witted. They wander through the world. They are the blind leading the blind. The ignorant man holds one on to his objective or objects of desire, such as wife, son, wealth, etc. They are overpowered by ignorance. They take the body to be the self or Atman. They are dull witted, but they think themselves to be wise. They fall into the whirling wheel of birth and death and suffer from innumerable afflictions. So, we will continue this mantra in tomorrow's satsanga. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.